doorknob guy coming at noon or between noon and 4, so probably like 6. And then we gotta get our shit dragged to the curb today. Other than that, I think we're good.
So we're just gonna mail it this stuff tomorrow, right?
Yeah, finish up the boxes tonight. Mail the stuff off tomorrow. Son of a bitch. Woo! What's our temperature curve looking like over the week? We're just going up, 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 and staying up.
It's pretty stable.
Do we get any relief towards the end of the week?
Today is 105, tomorrow's 101, and then it's 107, 107, 107.
Oh my fucking god! Oh my god. Okay. Want out of this motherfucker. So bad. So fucking bad. ...107 degrees Fahrenheit. 105 today. 107, 107, 107, 107, 107, 107. You gotta be fucking joking me, dude. So fucking depressing. It's like impossible to like sit outside and enjoy your fucking life. One oh seven, 107, 107, 107, 107, 107, 107. We gonna do anything about the climate change going on? Nah. Fuck nah. Let's all boil. It'll be 120 here in 10 years. It'll be unlivable. People are just acting like it's normal. Going about their business. Let me wash my car today. I grew up in this fucking area, dude. We would break 100 degrees maybe twice every summer in the 80s and 90s. Maybe 2 or 3 times a summer. Now it's literally like a shock if you have a day that's below 100 degrees between the months of June and September. It's fucking unreal. All that hair doesn't help. But that's a good point. All right. You're being an asshole, but you make a good point, asshole. You put my hair up. That will help a little. In the short term, at least. Not in the long term, but in the short term, I will feel better if I get my hair up off my neck. Vote for Kamala. It's the only thing to do. Vote for Kamala, for the red, the white, the blue. You can see. Oh, okay, well that's better. That's like a 5-degree cooling right there. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I'm the same way. That's why I gave you props. Paul, can I interest you in my city's local SoundCloud rapper? No. Thanks for giving me an option. Paul, the only live worth watching. Allison, you're correct. There is no live worth watching but mine. Are you pro-black? Pro-black. I'm pro-human. I'm pro-everybody, man. Yes, I love black people. Pro-black. Are you asking, like, am I racist? Fuck no. Am I a leftist? Fuck yes. Now that she's the presumptive nominee, she no longer even claims support for Medicare for all or a fracking ban. Funny how that works. Yeah, I know. All of these like little progressive policies that she's hinted at in the past that everybody was throwing up last week like it was going to be fucking so as soon as she got elected, she's walked them all back now. She ain't going to do shit. Congrats. She's a placeholder Biden presidency. I would take my number of 100+ days to skip winter. Yeah. Michael Johnson, man. I'm gonna put you in a timeout till you learn, okay? Like you got a pass with me saying, do I want to hear about your, you asked me, do I want to hear about your local SoundCloud rapper? And I said, no, thanks for giving me a choice. And then you said it wasn't a choice, even though you asked it. You got 30 minutes to cool your jets. Okay? Learn how to be a human being. I can ban you if you want. Skibbity's coming out early today. Yeah, I mean, this is what it is, man. It's the fucking, you know, like the summertime thing. It's like they're all starting to wake up now. Who's your favorite NBA player all time? My personal favorite all time. Not the greatest, but my personal favorite. Muggsy Bogues. That trio on the Charlotte Hornets in the 90s of Muggsy Bogues, Alonzo Mourning, and Larry Johnson was fucking unstoppable. And I loved watching Muggsy play. He had such swagger for a little guy. Some of the best handles in the game. Little dude. Where you from? California, buddy. Where you from? What Chicago Bulls trio? Probably like Scottie Pippen, Jordan, and what's his fucking name? Dude with the fucking crazy hair, point guard guy. Do you have kids? And how bad is the pain of losing a child? I have no kids, and I don't know. I'll never know, because I don't want children. Hey, Paul, do you ever consider doing a classic DFF on the Irish Land League? No, I have not. Interesting example of union and anti-landlord organizations. I'll check into it. I've never heard of it. But I will, I'll look in. I'll see what I can see from it. Vote for Kamala. It's the only thing to do. Vote for Kamala, for the red, the white, the blue. God damn it. I went in to get weed and I fucking like left the weed. Thank you. Amelia's like, he left a joint on the counter. It's probably something he wants. Paul, I have a question. Everything is shit now. Like, what the fuck do we actually do about it? You stand up and you demand your rights. You realize what our ancestors have realized multiple times over the history of this country and the history of the world. When a government doesn't serve the people, it won't start serving the people out of the goodness of its heart. We're going to have to band together as human beings that live here, throw aside our politics, and demand our fucking human rights. And if we don't, we're dead. So there you go. That's it. Why does Paul refuse to comment on the feud between Demon Law and Xander? I don't fucking know anything about it, bro. I literally am not aware of what's going on. Other than what we covered on the fucking Gauntlet, which was Xander Hall calling Vosh a fascist for the same reasons that Vosh called me a fascist 4 months ago. So watching him eat some of his own medicine from somebody else on the left. That's the only thing I know about Xander Hall. I don't know anything else. Hey, Paul, do you care a lot about grooming cleanliness? Do you care as much about keeping a clean house? No. No, my house, a lot of people would probably say my house is dirty. I don't think it's dirty, but it's definitely not like spick and span, smelling like fucking Pine Sol all day. I really don't care. But I'm also not a dude that really worries about like entertaining people at his house. I don't like having people over usually. There are a few people I really enjoy having over, and they get invites, and everybody else can go fuck themselves. you ever get your bonus bucket back in the day? Nope. What is your favorite? Who is your favorite, Ronaldo or Messi? Ronaldinho. Ole, 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 ole. Is there anywhere we can do that peacefully, or is this a bullet and band-aid situation? We can be peaceful, but that doesn't mean it's going to be peaceful. We, and when I say we, I mean the proletariat rising up, should be peaceful. We should do nonviolence as a stated goal. But we're also going to have to be ready for them to send in the goon squad, and they will. How's the heat today? Awful. I'm not going to be out here for much longer because it's fucking unbearable. How's the heat today where you're at? Nonviolent, passive resistance, sit-ins. Would you guys ever do any more alternate history DFF episodes? Maybe. What are you drinking? Water and coffee. I've got an ice water and I've got coffee. Thoughts on Just Stop Oil? At least they're doing something. At least they're getting the message out that none of the politics bullshit we're arguing about is going to matter if the world is uninhabitable and the oceans are dead. So yeah, at least they're fucking doing something. Are you a beer guy? Sure, yeah, I like a beer. How much to shave your head and beard? $5,000. I'll do it right here on the show for $5,000. Just hair, it'll grow back. Are you a beer guy? Yeah, I just said, wait a minute, I already answered that one. Yes, I'm a beer guy. I like beers. Any amusing anecdotes recently? No. Paul, how did they remember history before, like, the civilization that wrote the Sanskrit? So oral tradition, right? History was passed down person to person via oral tradition before writing, before written language. And some of that was eventually written down, and most of it was not. Got some Dante's Inferno, one of the best strains I've ever had in a while. Dante's Inferno, I've never had it. What a strain, dude. Yo, this one's called Death. Death? Yeah, we never really have like a hard and fast topic here. We're just kind of shooting the shit. It's kind of talking until it gets too hot for me to sit out here, and then I'm gonna go inside and be depressed for the rest of the day. Hot topic, but do you think that people forget that slavery is much older than the American slavery trade? Yes. Yes, I think people forget that pretty much every civilization that ever lived had a tradition at some point of human chattel slavery, including all modern ones. So, yeah. Let me ask you this question. I'll do a little, what do we call that? Trivia. Which country has the longest unbroken chain of chattel slavery? Which country on the planet Earth has the longest unbroken chain of chattel slavery? So, hundreds of years. A couple of you have guessed it. A couple of you have guessed it correct. Not the USA, not Brazil. Korea had 1,500 years of unbroken chattel slavery. So if you want to be mad at slavery, Korea is the worst country on the planet. They've got the most egregious case of chattel slavery in human history that we know of. Pretty fucking crazy, right? Korea. You can look it up. Yes, North and South Korea are modern constructs. The 85th parallel or whatever is a line on a map. The only reason I know that is from the Bad Friends podcast. Bad Friends. Which one is Bad Friends? Is that, no, that's thinking of another dude. Who's on Bad Friends? It sounds so fucking familiar, but I can't place who's on that podcast. It's a comedian podcast. Oh, the Bobby Lee, okay. Bobby Lee and the redhead guy. Andrew Santino, yeah, okay. That's cool. I didn't know they did an episode on slavery or something. That's kind of crazy. It's just not, well, I guess Bobby Lee being Korean, it probably came up from that. Lizard Gothic. Say what? Why won't you, TJ, and Scotty go on Joe Rogan? You do realize that the Joe Rogan show has become the most popular fucking internet show on the planet by a country mile. Nothing even comes close to touching it. And then getting an invite onto that show is like somebody walking up to you and handing you a full gold bar and saying, hey man, this is for you. In fact, it's better than that. I would take a spot on Joe Rogan's show as a guest over a couple $1 million. You'd have to pay me something like $10 million to get me to choose the money over going on Joe Rogan, because you can't buy that kind of publicity. You just can't. So he's got the biggest show in the world, and getting an invite onto that is crazy, and we're pretty much nobodies. TJ's been on his show twice, but at the time TJ went on his show was like a tenth of what it is now, or less. So the chances of Joe Rogan calling up TJ and inviting him back on the show are slim to zero. And the chances of Joe Rogan having us as a podcast team on as a triple guest is below zero. Bobby was saying only white people have ever done slavery. Andrew Googled it and found out that detail about Korean slavery. Okay. was back when DP was at its peak, yeah. Yeah, the Joe Rogan Experience had not become what it is yet. Not to undercut it, it was still a big show. And TJ going on it is a cool fucking trivia fact, you know what I mean? And his interviews with Joe were both pretty interesting. That being said, the show is a different thing today than it was then. And the chances that Joe Rogan is going to call up TJ or notice our podcast and invite us on is, like I said, pretty much as close to absolute zero as you can get with a potentiality. It's just not happening, guys. People that get invites on that show, like most of them, I imagine, understand what a fucking gift it is. Like he basically can make your career with a couple hours worth of an interview, and he's done it a bunch of times. There are a bunch of people right now that owe pretty much the entirety of their career to Joe Rogan liking them and putting them on. It's usually Joe's friends and some right-wingers. I mean, Joe's friends a lot. He does have a lot of right-wingers on, but he has a lot of, like, weird scientists, conspiracy theorists, you know, like historians. Like, the thing about Joe Rogan's podcast is, and the reason I think it's a brilliant show, right, even today, is because Joe figured out that people don't like to be condescended to by content. You know what that means? That means, like, people don't like to watch content that makes them feel like dum-dums. And so he was like, in a flash of brilliance, he was like, I'm going to be the dum-dum. I don't know shit about science, but I think it's cool to smoke weed and talk about it. So I'm going to be the dum-dum in the room. So I will ask the dumb questions. I will say the dumb things, and the audience will get to feel smart. That shit is fucking crazy. It's like a fucking flash of absolute brilliance. Like, I'm gonna be the everyman dum-dum on my own show, and I'm gonna have people come on and, like, put me up on game. Funny how Joe Rogan played a janitor in a show who filled in on a radio show and killed it. Yeah, I know. Rogan is way smarter than he lets on. Well, you're talking about different types of smarts, right? We've talked about this on here before. Like, I don't think Joe Rogan is book smart at all. At all. I don't think Joe Rogan assimilates complex information very well. I think Joe Rogan is incredibly, intuitively, conversationally intelligent. I think he knows how to get people talking, keep people talking, be self-effacing, take criticism and just let it roll off, and move forward with the vision of his show, which is, I'm going to be the everyman, and I'm going to have people come on and blow my mind over and over again. He married his UFC audience with his podcast pretty well by doing that. Yeah. I mean, the dude is just smart. Like, business smart. Maybe, like I said, I really don't think Joe Rogan is all that book smart. He doesn't portray himself as a dude that's widely well-read and, you know, well-educated or any of that. Not that that's a problem. I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for a host that's real fucking snappy and too smart for the guest, that's not the Joe Rogan Experience. The Joe Rogan Experience is, I'm a fucking meathead. And this dude's talking about aliens, and it's blowing my fucking mind right now. This guy's talking about the nature of fucking reality, and it's blowing my fucking mind right now. I mean, that's his whole show. It's great. It's perfect. I wouldn't change a fucking thing. Is people's attention span getting shorter, and why? I don't know if that's something that can be measured, but yes. Yes. Why? Because I think that people are more distracted now than ever. We have more fascinating distractions as a species now than we ever have had. I'll let my phone cool for a second here. Have you heard the story of Bob Lazar, Paul? He was on Rogan. No, I don't. It doesn't summon up. I might have seen it, but I just don't remember the name, maybe. What's this live all about? We're just talking, man. I'm trying to cool down my phone. Ever seen that video of a bear eating a gorilla on DMT? Pull that up, Jamie. Did you see that video of that big fat bitch that threw up another fat bitch? She like started puking and another fat bitch came out. Pull that up, Jamie. Can you pull that up, Jamie? Kyle's simping for Kamala now. I mean, he's an electoralist. If he's going to back whoever the Dem candidate is, that's going to be that. That's what he's going to do. I don't know why that's shocking to you. What happens when a young person wins or comes into a lot of money and all of a sudden they don't know anything about money? So you're talking about like new money, or you're talking about somebody that's never had money and then all of a sudden they come into money? So typically what happens is that people think that $2 million is infinity money. Because in comparison to the 30 grand or 35 grand that a lot of people make a year, right? That is infinity money. But the problem is that they get that $2 million and they immediately set about trying to set themselves up in a lifestyle. And they don't think about the sustainability of the lifestyle. For example, if you were to win $2-3 million bucks, let's say you win $3 million in the lotto. After taxes, your take home is $3 mil. You realize that if you just put that in a high yield savings account, you could just live on that. It's like a couple, 3-4 grand a month that you're going to be just getting for nothing. So if you take all that money and immediately tie it up in a giant house and 10 cars, you have all that stuff, but can you pay the fucking property tax on that mansion? No. Can you continue to afford to have those cars serviced? No. So what ends up happening is somebody wins $2 million and then you hear about them 2 years later, they're broker than they were before. And they've got a cool ass story about it. Damn, man. I used to own a mansion in Beverly Hills and a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? They just literally don't, because like at a certain level, being poor means you don't understand how to make money work for you. Like that's part of being poor. That's part of being a poor person. Is you don't have enough money to make money work for you, and you don't even know that that exists. If you were smart, right, you got your money, you would set aside some money immediately to help your family. So if you've got a mom and dad that are on a fixed income or something, they're old, you buy their house for them. So their fixed income is better, right? You buy out the rest of their loan or whatever, 30, 40 grand. You take 100 grand, you put it in a fucking trust account for your nieces and nephews or your children. You let that mature. And then the rest of it goes right in the bank into high yield CDs and savings accounts. And you start cashing checks on your money. Right? You take a little chunk for investment. The rest of it just sits there and makes money. You know what money likes to do in the bank? It likes to fuck and make more money. What's up, Pranab? How you doing, buddy? Ain't heard from you in a minute. Hope things are well. Did you and Mindy enjoy your day? I can't remember what you said you were going to watch. Just chilling on the couch watching a show, I think, is what your plan was for the day. I'm hoping it was a chill-ass fucking day. Battlestar. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Cool, dude. I'm glad, man. You deserve that shit. You've been fucking working hard lately, bud. Gotta take some time. I'm looking forward to mine, man. Tomorrow's our last big show of the cycle. I think we got maybe one other type of content to do before I get my whole week off, and I am so ready for that week, bro. I'm gonna enjoy my week off. I'm also going to an isolation chamber. There's a place in town that does that saltwater isolation float tank, and I'm going to do that. I'm gonna buy myself an hour in it and see how I like it. And if I like it, I'm gonna do another fucking hour. 45 bucks. I think it's gonna be worth. Oh my God, it's so fucking hot. It's so sad. Ugh. Do you like any Southern rappers? Yeah. I liked the whole like chopped and screwed shit that came out of like Texas and Louisiana, and the candy paint shit. So like Paul Wall and Juvenile and the Cash Money and all of that shit from down there. Yeah, I like that shit. T.I. Like that Atlanta sound too. Atlanta hip hop. Pretty fucking dope sounding. Tennessee drill. You guys ever heard that shit? Shit's fucking dope. According to my phone, it feels like 104 today. Fucking crazy. Yeah. Oh my fucking God, dude. I'm just like literally just gonna fucking die of heat stroke. I'm gonna do it to myself too because I cannot stand being cooped up inside. Riding through Atlanta in a Phantom with the double doors. Luda. I just want to wish you a wonderful day in life. Oh, thanks. That's very nice of you. Feels like 107 in my neck of the woods, and I work outside. Fuck. Yeah, buddy. Oof, 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 oof. We're dying. Guys, this is not good. We got to get out. You can't leave. Hey, after watching that gauntlet, I have a quick question. What the hell is a Sasuke? Bro, I don't fucking know, dude. Sasuke's older brother, the Genjutsu, is some kind of fucking character in Naruto. That's all I know. And he puts you in a fucking universe where 50 of his older brothers come out and they beat you up a bunch of times. And like 1 second feels like 10 years or some shit. How much does running AC jack up your monthly bill? You don't even want to know, bro. I'm ashamed. I'm not even going to tell you guys what my monthly fucking power bill is in the summer to stay in my home. I'm not even going to tell you. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. It's fucking absurd. When I move and I don't have to run the AC 24/7, 365, 6 months a year, I'm going to save tens of thousands of dollars. My AC runs literally all day. Mine too. All day. It's off right now because it cooled it down to 79. And then as soon as it kicks up to 80 inside, and it's just like the price. You know, just run it up, 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 run it up. Plus, I live in a shitty house that hasn't been fucking resealed since the 90s or early 2000s when it was built. And so it doesn't even hold heat properly or cool. I've got single pane windows. It's a garbage fucking house I live in. The house is garbage. It's cheaply made, shitty, cookie cutter. Every house looks like the house next to it. Late 90s, early 2000s, build it on the cheap, shitty foundation, shitty stucco garbage. So I'm paying extra for that. Because my house bleeds fucking cool air faster than a good house would. Unbelievable. Untenable.
Staying up pretty late lately.
Wow, I mean, yeah, but it's like I went to bed at like 5 a.m. and woke up at 10.
Yeah.
But I also took like a 6-hour nap yesterday.
It wasn't 6 hours.
I don't know what it was, but it was enough. I feel completely fucking done sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm going to cover my RV in egg cartons when I permanently park it. Cool, I guess. Your opinion on the opening of the Olympic Games, France? Fun. Cool. Visually interesting. Weird. Notable. Can't remember the last time that an Olympic opening ceremony was notable. So I'm not sure exactly what was going on, but I actually watched the whole Gojira performance this morning when I woke up. I'd seen clips and people talking about it, but I hadn't just seen the whole thing. And it was like at some old French palace. It might have been like part of Versailles, or I don't know what it was, but they had a bunch of women dressed like Marie Antoinette holding her own head, singing about the revolution and about hanging all of the aristocrats from the lampposts. And then Gojira came out and a bunch of flames spouted off and they started singing about mea culpa. And I was just like, can we just have the Olympics in France from now on? And can they be year round?
It was such a pussy move to apologize about the drag Last Supper. It's like, fuck you.
I mean, I kind of want an apology too, because it blew my fucking mind. I still don't know what I watched.
Yeah.
I want an apology for making me think at the beginning of the Olympics. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but it was way cooler than any other opening ceremony I can't even remember one. But yeah, that shit when they were like, when Gojira just started rocking, because I was like, what is this? And then it was like one lady is shown, and then it pulls back, and like every window has the same lady in it. But none of them did anything. It was just like they were there just for the aesthetic of having Marie Antoinette's headless corpse in every window. And she's like, the translation, it's all in French, and I couldn't hear it because she was singing all operatic, but it's literally like, hang the aristocrats from the lampposts, grab the aristocrats and burn them all. you know, blah, blah, blah. And then Gojira just comes out and starts screaming mea culpa and flames start going.
They're trying to get people upset about the drag queens, but the real reason is, like, the elites are upset.
I mean, fuck. Like, how did that happen? Like, the elites in France must be really scared.
Yeah.
They're like, let's let them blow off a little bit of that old cut off their head steam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'd never let us do that shit here. Yeah, it was like giga-based. I was like, huh? I know it was the Feast of Dionysus, but it was very strange, weird. You know what I mean? I don't care what it was, really. It was a spectacle, the whole thing. But that metal shit, I can't even believe that happened at the Olympics. That was like crazy. And nothing like that'll ever happen because no metal band is going to get permits to do a fucking art show at Versailles with pyro and fucking giant speakers blowing out metal music across fucking Paris and shit. It's not gonna happen. Other than in this weird context where the government of France decides it wants to fund it. I don't even like Gojira either. I don't like metal like that, but fuck. I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you gotta watch, see if you can find the clip, Abby, of the whole thing without commentary, because there's so many people like, watch me react, and they pause it every 3 seconds, and you don't really get the full effect. You gotta just find, like, the video of it, and just watch it. It's only like 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes long, I think, and it's like totally worth it. Yo, what's your name? It's Paul. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to. You have to. Like, if it sounds cool to you, it's way cooler than I'm making it sound. Like, it's fucking, like, giga based cool. Ultra fucking, like, leftist aesthetics and calling back to beheading the Queen of France. Fuck yes, bro. Hang them all from the lampposts. Kill the aristocrats. And then Gojira. Fire. Explosions. Double bass. It's like, yeah, dude, I can only get so hard.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like they directed outrage towards the drag queens to, like, detract from people watching.
I don't even think they were, I don't think they cared.
Yeah.
I think outrage was the point of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's a lot of fuddy-duddy, stodgy motherfuckers in France who are probably outraged about Versailles being used for a fucking metal band and anti-royalist display. And
well, what I'm saying is, like, because they were mad at that, they tried to direct the common outrage.
I think they did that to piss off France,
Yeah.
to piss off some of the French, stodgy, upper crusty French people. And I think they did the drag queen trans thing to piss off America.
Yeah.
I think it was like, hey, here's the length and breadth of humanity's strangeness in your face. Fuck you. Here it is. And it was you know, props. I usually don't like simping for a fucking national government, but the fact that France allowed that kind of a fucking hardcore leftist message on the world stage in one of their most venerated national monuments is fucking crazy. Crazy. Abominable Putridity will be playing the Super Bowl halftime show this year. I don't even know what that is, bro. But whatever. Our government will shut that down immediately. Oh, yeah. They would never get off the ground. Nobody in America would even conceptualize it on the mass scale. Like, if the next time American Olympics happen, which it'll happen, it'll rotate back through, we'll be doing the Olympics again. And there will be nothing but rank nationalism. That's what they always do. It's always like, let's celebrate everybody's nationalism. That's what American opening ceremonies are always about. Let's celebrate the athletes and the nationalistic imperative behind the competition between them. Yay! Like, they're never going to use it to make a giant political statement. Ever. Do you know this quote, Paul? Man will never be free until the last king is strangled with the entrails of the last priest. And do you agree, or do humans need religions? I don't think that you necessarily eliminating the priesthood as it exists now would be elimination of religion. Religion doesn't flow forth from the clergy. It flows forth from the holy books that the religions are based on. So, yeah, I mean, we could get rid of every goddamn priest in the fucking world and abolish that religion, and there would still be religious people. So the idea of abolishing religion is just kind of a silly notion. It's not something I ever advocated for, even back in the day when I was a hardcore, like, atheist, you know, doing the whole fucking atheist versus Christian YouTube debate thing that was big in the early 2000s. I never advocated for, like, we need to fucking eliminate religion. It's just like a stupid fucking fantasy and kind of contrary to what I believe about human autonomy. Yeah. Like, if you want to believe some crazy shit, I shouldn't be in your head with a scalpel cutting out your memories and cutting out your thoughts. It's just when you try and create a superstructure for that religion and then impose its will on the government, that's the problem. That's the issue, is when these organizations that are largely abusive, either financially or even physically, sexually, emotionally abusive organizations, are given basically like God status in America, tax exemption, but they're allowed to run these giant businesses. Do you guys have any idea how much more money I would make and how much more money big business people in general would make if we didn't have to pay taxes ever on anything?
And like the whole, like, they're allowed to campaign from the pulpit.
Well, technically they're not.
But they just never pursued.
But they just never codified the separation of church and state. Yeah. It's codified only in really loose old language. Mm-hmm. And that's it. There needs to be something in the Constitution about the mass separation of church and state directly.
Or like they need to actually pursue, like the IRS violations of
this Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of or regulating or whatever it is a religion. Yeah. That is not sufficient. It's not sufficient. It's actually used by religious people to justify their exemption because it exempts them from national law saying they have to pay taxes. So it's actually pro-religious in the way that it's interpreted today, even though that wasn't the spirit of it. The spirit of it was religion and government should never be married. They're their own things. But it's used as an excuse to let religion run roughshod over government. How the heck did Scientology get tax exempt status? That's actually a story I know a lot about. So Scientology, under L. Ron Hubbard, its founder, was obsessed with tax exemption because L. Ron Hubbard was persona non grata in the United States and Europe towards the end of his life for tax evasion. Because
he had the boat.
That's why he lived on a boat. He lived on a small fleet of recommissioned schooners and trawlers, and he called himself the admiral of the fleet, and he lived in international waters and stopped at non-extradition ports to resupply. And eventually, after things cooled down, he moved his organization in under a false name to a town in Florida called Clearwater. Clearwater, Florida is now considered to be the spiritual mecca of Scientology. It is the holy site of Scientology. Its most venerated building is the Fort Harrison Hotel. That is the upper level ecclesiastical organization of the church. And they also have a giant Scientology building that they built there called the Superpower Building, where all of Hubbard's crazy ideas about the melding of physics and your mental state are demonstrated with weird things, but you can't get in there and see all of it unless you're a Scientologist. But it's this giant museum-sized building, right?
They do have a whole separate museum for propaganda, like the
Yep.
Psychiatry Museum or whatever.
Yep, in Hollywood.
Yep.
They've got one in Hollywood and they've got one in Florida.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, off topic, but L. Ron Hubbard was obsessed with his organization achieving tax-exempt status. But he went crazy and died in the 80s. And the heir apparent to his throne was an upstart by the name of David Miscavige, who was basically his errand boy. But he used that close position with Hubbard to seize power because he was one of the first people with power in the organization to know Hubbard was dead. And so he called an immediate press conference, stood up there, and he was the one that told Scientology that Hubbard had dropped his body, as they call it. He had moved on, his phaeton had just gone exterior. And that made him the heir apparent to Scientology. And he went about doing what Hubbard could not. He marshaled all of the money of Scientology and started an unprecedented legal campaign to tie up the entire U.S. tax structure. The entirety of the IRS was literally doing nothing but fighting hundreds of individual lawsuits from Scientologists.
Yeah, they do the paper burying all the time.
And they went into mitigation, and they got people inside of those organizations, like from Scientology, convincing these people, hey, all of these lawsuits get dropped as soon as you recognize us as a bona fide religion. And they held on to it for years. 3 years. They spent millions, tens of millions of dollars fighting the federal government. And eventually the federal government was like, we're going to have to create an entire department of the IRS to just handle Scientology problems. Or we just give them their fucking little piece of paper and let them be tax-free. Okay, you win. That's how they got it. Crazy, right? The Superpower Building, you can look it up too. There's actually like internal Scientology documentation of that place where you can see some of the kinetic experiments and shit. But you can't go in there and just walk around in it and see everything. You have to be a Scientologist. But yeah, it's called the Superpower Building. But I know far too much about Scientology. I'm a fucking Scientology wonk. I've been following Scientology as a critic since the very early 2000s. About 2002 or 3 is when I started to get into critique and just like learning about Scientology. And so I know a lot. I'm not like a fucking like one of the most foremost experts or whatever, but I know way more than the average person does about Scientology. I'm just like fascinated by it. Yeah, I've the Big Blue Building in LA, and there's also the Celebrity Center. I've been by both of them. I've never been in either. Is it a concern for the public? Absolutely. Scientology right now is engaged in human trafficking. So Scientology forces its members to go through a system called RPF. So if you are found guilty of having evil thoughts about L. Ron Hubbard or Mary Sue Hubbard, if you're found guilty about having evil thoughts about the tech, that is the writings, if you're found guilty of questioning the tech or squirreling the tech, using it in a way that isn't standard according to what they say is Hubbard's writings, but are largely just reconstituted Hubbard writings. They're more Miscavige writings now, but that doesn't matter, right? If you're found guilty of being against the church or being an ethical violation of the church, you are forced to either be ostracized from your entire community. And keep in mind, people that are in Scientology are raised super insular. And there's a policy called disconnection within Scientology, where if a family member of yours is a critic of Scientology, or what they call a PTS or an SP. So PTS is potential trouble source, and an SP is a suppressive person. If you have a family member that's PTS SP, you have to disconnect from them. That means you're not allowed to be their son or daughter or child anymore. You are to break all ties with them and never speak to them again. If you try and maintain a relationship despite them not agreeing with your religion, you are either given the option of being excommunicated from the church and everything that you've ever known, or go to the RPF. The RPF, the Rehabilitation Project Force, is slave labor, where people with nothing that work for the church for pennies are transported all over the country to build and maintain Scientology properties for no pay. There are children who live on the RPF because they have to go with their parents. So, yeah, it's a public crisis. Tom Cruise is in on the scam. So, Scientology a long time ago learned that courting big celebrities was a good way to get their religion to be considered more bona fide by the public. And Tom Cruise is literally the greatest asset that the Church of Scientology has. He is treated differently than every other Scientology practitioner. The question is, does Tom Cruise know that or not? Because they glaze his ass and give him parties and millions of dollars worth of shit, and he's just like elevated in that church to this status of like God, basically. And if you're a celebrity in the church, you have a whole different track. That's what they call your path up the bridge to total freedom. Your track to total freedom, the wheels are greased, everything is very, very posh and upscale for you, and you are led to believe as a celebrity that that's how Scientology is for everybody. But it isn't. And at a certain point, if you're a celebrity and you're a Scientologist, so like John Travolta, Tom Cruise, right? Let's say these guys wanted to get the fuck out of Dodge. Let's say they wanted to tell people what was going on inside the church. Well, the Church of Scientology has an insipid practice that it calls a PC folder. It's a pre-clear folder. So when you join Scientology, and when you're in Scientology, part of your ecclesiastical worship is going through a process called auditing, where you hold a very basic electrochemical sensor in your hands that senses electrical stimulation. It's a very, very rudimentary lie detector. You hold these little electrochemical sensors. The person across from you asks you pointed questions about your past. And if they detect that you're lying or tense about something, your needle will do this on their little fucking rudimentary machine, and they hammer home until you tell the truth. They're taking notes. And every note from all of this personal information goes in what's called your pre-clear folder. So a lot of people speculate that Tom Cruise and John Travolta are gay or bisexual. And they come from an era where being outed as a gay man is one of the worst things that you can do. They have repeatedly denied these things, and it would make them look like liars and weirdos, and their whole lives would be open to more scrutiny. And so the threat of having all of that leaked about them keeps these powerful people tied to the organization. That's why it's so rare for a big, giant public Scientologist to defect. Like Leah Remini, very brave of her to become an open critic of the church. And they did exactly what I talked about to Leah Remini. They combed through her PC folders and started calling out things from her past and all of this shit. Yep, we did a whole show on Scientology, yeah. Yeah, it cost her her whole fucking social network, but she rose above it. But most people aren't as brave as her. Most of these people don't want their deepest, darkest secrets coming out in the press. They don't want the scrutiny. So they keep their mouths shut. They go along to get along. They take the bribes from the church. They take the lavish vacation. They take the fucking accommodations. They take the car. They take the clothes. They take the invites to the big swanky parties. Because that's better than John Travolta is gay coming out in the media, in their minds. Didn't they kidnap people? Yes. They kidnap people, they spy on people, they try and ruin people's lives that are critics of the church. Yes, yes, yes. All of that. Oh, man. That's a little better. Got that circulation going. All right. Why does that feel so good? It's not like a hard slap, but it's firm. Feels really nice. Woosah. That's how East Indians give massages. Cool. Well, I'm not going to be able to sit out here for much longer. You guys are on a timer. That's the timer. Rapid fire Q&A, whatever you want, but make it quick. A tug off camera. Yeah, bro. I'm stepping over in my backyard in the middle of the day and jerking off. Yeah. Real good one. My name is Credence Leonore Gilgould of ancient druidic origins. Hey, Paul, did you hear about the ancient Siberian city of... No, dude, I ain't gonna do it. Wanna see my dick? Dude, nuh-uh. But I'm gonna use that one. Wanna see my? Wanna see my fucking nuts on your face, bitch? I'm gonna use that one. I'm gonna get TJ with that one on Friday. Paul, I checked out Incesticide. That first track, Dive, absolutely fucks. I know. I know. Dive, 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 dive with me. Dive with me. Do 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 do. Bass line on that song fucks. Hey, dive, 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 dive with me. Dive with me. Got the Sliver Dive single. Cool. Sliver's my favorite song. My favorite Nirvana song. It's just so heartwarming. It's like a heartwarming little song. After dinner we had ice cream, mashed potatoes and stuff like that. I couldn't chew my meat too good. Grandma, take me home. Grandma, take me home. Grandma, take me home. Grandma, take me home. I'm listening to this album on the way to work now. You should. I woke up in my mother's arms. Grandma, take me home. Do not have kids. Do not want kids. Thank goodness I don't have kids. I get to be super selfish in my life because I don't have kids. That's a wonderful thing. I do have nieces and nephews. I'd like to leave them a little something when I die, but other than that, kids are really not my concern. You look like the Las Vegas shooter. Do I? I don't think I do, bro. All right, I'm out of here. I can't fucking hang. It's too hot. See you guys next time. Bye.